Good morning, pals. Welcome back to 100 Miles, 100 Days on a $100 treadmill. I'm Tanya, and today we're going to talk about Disney stuff, and we're going to look at hopefully finishing up those Haunted Mansion ears. So come along and take a walk with me. All right, pals, you ready to get started? Here's the countdown. Come on, everybody. Here we go. And let's ramp it up. Glad to have you back. I'm glad that I have this treadmill because it's raining outside again. It is Oregon, and we are in for apparently at least a week of rain, and that's just par for the course around here. But you know, it was very nice. We were very lucky these past few weekends where we've gotten to go outside and bring you along on some trails that we love or haven't been on before. Getting to take you to Shampooey was a lot of fun. It was the first time I filmed in 4K outside with the right filters on my camera, and that was a lot of fun. Got to use some of the features of the camera. I think you maybe were wondering how it was that did we have a third person who was following us when Chris and I were walking together? And it's just one of the fun features that my camera does. So that was just really fun to play with. And we set it up on some logs and different places, and trying to get things a little more cinematic now that I'm kind of getting the editing part down a little bit better. So hopefully that's coming across and you're having a good time with that. So I don't want to spend a whole lot of time chatting with you guys today because I have a lot of footage of the other morning where I spent most of the day getting the Haunted Mansion ears done. If you watched the live stream last night, you probably saw the finished product, and it was great to have you guys along. And so I've got the footage that is going to be condensed down for the end of this, or for the second 2/3 of this video. So just a couple of things I wanted to talk to you about before we get to that is that the Haunted Mansion is back up at Disneyland, and we're going to open the Disneyland app. So the Haunted Mansion had been closed for about 2 weeks for the overlay to be taken off and the regular Haunted Mansion to be put back in place. So if we look at that park hours for the day, and we look down to what is closed for refurbishment, we'll see that now Haunted Mansion is no longer on the list, but It's a Small World has been added to the list. So what they do is Haunted Mansion closes down for 2 weeks for the switchover. Then when that comes back up, It's a Small World goes down for 2 weeks for them to take their Christmas overlay down from there. We've still got Oga's and Rise of the Resistance, and Incredicoaster is down for some refurbishment as well. We can now go all the way out to March 10th. It's interesting that they haven't taken Small World off of the refurbishment calendar for as far out as it goes. That's probably just an oversight. I haven't heard about any extra refurbishment that they're going to be doing. It may be that they're not giving an exact date because maybe they're doing other things, like, the joke is that they have to cut the they have to cut the kids' hair once a year, and because it grows. But that's just a funny little thing that has to get done just because of the nature of the material that their hair is made out of, and that they're in a humid environment 365 days a year, 24 hours a day. So their hair tends to get frizzy and do weird stuff. So they actually have to go in there and groom them. So fun fact about It's a Small World. So, they're probably doing all of that kind of stuff at the same time. So it might be just in their best interest not to give a specific date that they're coming back. But I would be super surprised if it's closed on a long-term basis, like what the app is showing at the moment. Okay, so I got a little ahead of myself when I started talking about It's a Small World. I meant to be continuing to talk to you about Haunted Mansion opening back up. So we looked at that date, and then what we're also going to do is go ahead, hit that plus button in the center, bottom, open book Lightning Lane entry. At the top where it says My Day and Tipboard, we're going to click Tipboard. And we're going to scroll down to find Haunted Mansion, which right now is at a 25-minute standby with a return time of now. So it has been open for several days. People have kind of gotten their thrill of being the first ones to be back on the ride again and make sure that everything's copacetic. And so now it's kind of back down to its regular, if not kind of slow line to get in. But everything's a little bit slow right now. These are some great times to be going to Disneyland. End of January, beginning of February. There's a lot going on over at DCA with the Lunar New Year Celebration. Let's go ahead and change over to that park. And you can see things like that Guardians of the Galaxy is at 75 minutes with sold out Lightning Lane. Yeah, everything is pretty standard. Even with the Lunar New Year Celebration over at DCA, what tends to happen is you'll watch, if you watch vloggers who live nearby and they go to these celebrations like on the opening day, opening night, you will see tons of people. And it's because everybody wants to be part of the I was there on opening day kind of thing. And the vloggers, it's in their best interest to show you before you have the chance to even get there what it looks like. And so it always looks busy on those opening nights, opening days. But then everything kind of calms down again. So if you're wanting to go and be part of the openings of things like the Lunar New Year Celebration, just expect that you're going to have higher crowd volume than later on during the celebration, when that's going to mellow out and people are going to be picking the days that work for them rather than everybody going on this specific date that's set aside for opening. So there's another tip for you. So with all of that, let's go ahead and take a look at those Haunted Mansion ears. Okay, pals, we're ready to work on these ears again. So I've got everything removed now. So I've got all the flowers removed. I removed an extra piece of the felt from here so that when we get the battery pack on, I can hide the wire there with the piece of felt over the top of it. And then I found out that I've tried a bunch of different ways off camera, and there's really not a great way to actually hide this battery pack. So it is going to be hanging off the back, which is going to be a little bit annoying, I think, but I am going to try to cover that up so that it looks like it belongs there. So what I'm going to do is take the lace that's on the end of the veil that had the light up flowers on it, and I'm going to remove some of this lace and use that to just kind of cover up that piece. So I have a little piece removed from the veil here so you can see that it'll be a little bit like that. I'm going to sew the pack onto the headband, and we're just going to hand stitch this on here. So that when I come back to the end here, so that's on there nice and secure. And I'm just going to tie a couple overhand knots to keep that thread secure. So hopefully when I do this hand stitching, you guys can see that hand stitching is not that difficult when you are going to be hiding something like this, because it doesn't have to be beautiful. So that's what the pouch looks like at the moment. Okay, so next I'm going to go ahead, I cut out a piece of this lace, and the idea is that I would like it to lay here. When I cut this lace, I'm going to cut it along this edge here so that I have a piece to lay down along here. And I'll do the same on the other side. There's like tiny stitches here that are connecting the pieces of lace, and I'm just snipping those. I'm snipping less, and then I'll come back and snip off more if I need to. So I'm going to fold this in half so that I can repeat the pattern on the other side. There you can see now that I have matching on both sides piece of lace. So it'll go here and down the side on both sides. And that'll help to disguise that box a little bit more, but still keep it usable, because you may want to take it out and use and change the batteries. Okay, so before I start gluing lace and things on, I need to get the battery pack back in and get the wire glued on here so that I can start overlaying things over the top of these. So what I'm going to do is put this battery pack in with the button up so that it'll be easy to access. The only thing I really need to have accessible is this little part where the flowers plug back in. And the main reason that these felt pieces are here is because if they weren't, the boning in these ears, even when I took this one piece off, they wanted to kind of twist on itself. All right, so we've got that part done, and we're just gonna stuff the rest of that wire inside of that package. All right, and on to the lace. So the place I'm going to tack the lace on is to the top flap here, so that you'll still be able to get in here and get to the battery pack. So I'm going to go ahead and sew that down. Hook that Velcro back together and see how that lace is now tacked onto that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just leaving a little bit of extra room back here so that when the ears are on, the pack can sit up on your head easier. I'll do the other side real quick and you can watch that as well. You can see that little plug-in for the flowers is still quite available to me. And now we'll move on to attaching those flowers on the front. All right, so I got that plug back in, got the flowers started. I just needed more hands than I had to film and do all this at the same time. So the first flower is glued down, and I covered all of the connections with that one. And I'm just going to build these along here. They pretty much cover that whole front of the headband. So what I'm going to do is place the one on the opposite side so that I have those even, and then I will distribute the others equally once I have these glued, once I have these two outer ones glued down. Get an idea of what we're working with. Looking pretty cool. Now we just need to fill these in. What a pretty thing. Now let's go ahead and finish up the back. And now all we have left is the light purple flowers. All right, so on the back, unfortunately, I had one strand of the light up flowers on the other veil that did not light up. So I took a couple of those flowers off for the back part, so they won't light up, but you're going to see that there's plenty of light on these things. And there you have it from the back side with the battery pack. And from the front side, and lit up. So there she is. I think she's done. Okay, pals, one more thing. Because I can't leave well enough alone. So I have this really cool lace that looks like spider webs. And it glows in the dark. And I really wanted to use them on these ears to begin with. So what I'm going to do is put them on the back so they'll show through on the front like that. And then I thought, well, how am I going to cover them up? So I cut out some more of that lace from right here, and I will cover them up on the edge with that so that they're not just like strangely glued on, but wanted to show you that that is, I'm going ahead and taking that next step because I think it needs spider webs. And after this, I am going to stop because my joy when I get creating like this is like, ooh, and another thing, ooh, and another thing. And really, I should have stopped at the last thing that was cool to do. So I'm going to stop before it gets too crazy. And I did dry fit these before I started, so it's not like I just went, oh, magic, and they fit. Okay, for real now. That's the back, and that's the front. I think those spider webs will look really cute when they're glowing in the dark. So there you go. Now we'll see what they look like on. And there it is, 1 mile. Woohoo! All right, pals, good job. There you go. There's those Haunted Mansion ears in their glory. Thanks for coming along again on another 100 miles, 100 days on a $100 treadmill, and we'll see you back here tomorrow. Bye, pals. Yeah. Blah, blah, blah. That was a lot of fun. Got to start that over too. Glad you're doing your job, buddy.